Welcome, Divine Collective. This is Oracle Rose Healing Tarot, where tarot becomes healing and healing becomes you. Today's reading is a powerful, emotional, and it's sacred. We're exploring how your family trauma shaped your soul and how those early wounds have influenced your purpose, your identity, your relationships, and your spiritual path. This is a healing space, a soft space, and a safe space, okay? These readings are general, so grab what resonates and let the rest float away. And they're timeless, which means if you found this video, it's right on time. And if this message makes you smile or gives you any clarity, hit that like button, subscribe, and share the video so our tribe can find us. Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you guys are here today. I'm doing this reading, guided tarot reading on family trauma. I was actually meditating, and when I say I do guided tarot readings, it's because when I meditate on my healing journey, there are certain things that come up in my meditation that I'm guided to create a reading on. Okay. And so this one is about family trauma healing. We all got that, where we got that family trauma going on. And it shaped us. It shaped some of the things that we're going to have going on with us. But we're here to explore it and see what's going on and walk through this healing journey together. But before we get started, as you know, I just want to go ahead and do a prayer so we can go ahead and clear space and mind your ears, because here comes the bell. I give thanks to the Most High Divine Spirit for being here, for surrounding us with healing energy, and for guiding today's messages. By the grace of the Most High and the Holy Spirit, this space is filled with love, peace, light, and all energies that do not serve our highest good are transmuted into love, healing, and renewing energy. Now let's step into this reading together. Okay, I'm hoping that everyone is doing well. All right, so I did a pre-shuffle, as you know, but we're going to go ahead and just go ahead and get the cut going. So we're going to get our lead card out there. All right. So as I was saying, family trauma. My family trauma goes deep. It's the kind that actually could affect your soul contract and what you were here for, your purpose, your actual purpose. However, I'm at this point in my healing journey, and I feel like that I've been uh, guided, given grace, mercy, and so I'm here to help share what I'm learning with you today. All right. So the first card out is about the original family wound. This is about what hurt you at your core. So we're going to be asking Spirit to guide us on this messages, and thank you, Holy Spirit, and Spirit angels, and ancestors. We need to know, what is the original family wound that hurt the collective at the core. And these are some new cards too, so I'm trying them out. It's the regular tarot deck. I am going to pull an oracle card deck. I did not get one prepared. I'm going to also ask for guidance on that card deck as well. All right. So the first card out we have is the Five of Swords energy. Okay, and we are talking about the original family wound. All right. And when you have Five of Swords, you're actually talking about arguments and conflicts and, you know, things of that nature, probably around pride, a lot of, and I know a lot of people can probably resonate with, having some of that in the family. This is the first energetic fracture. This is where some of the pain carried, even before you even had words to express what was going on. You probably was a baby sitting around watching a bunch of family members who were doing what we didn't know who was in the wrong. We didn't know what was going on. This first card reveals the earliest hurt. Okay, so it's about this conflict. This pain entered before we even know what it could do to you. It shaped your sensitivity, probably your reactions. It's kind of set the emotional blueprint. Okay, but it's a clear, direct wound from childhood. Okay, it could have came from neglect, emotional abandonment, especially if it was a lot of arguments going on. You know how the family. I remember I watching family members fight, And it was like their kids didn't even exist, and their kids were just sitting there watching everything like it was a movie, and they were just soaking up all that, nasty energy and the things, the criticism. It could have been about pressure or whatever it is. Okay. um, One of the healing techniques that I was able to do some research on is called timeline whispering. All right. That's where you sit quietly and you speak to the version of you at the age when the wound occurred, as far as you can remember, as far back. And you say, I'm older now. I can protect you. You are not alone anymore. All right. And just saying that over and over, even when these feelings come up, this will actually reprogram your original moment at some point. All right, especially when you go back in your memory. They'll help you soothe your nervous system even when you have those thoughts going back. All right. Now, card 2 is about how this wound shaped our self worth and how we learn to see or shrink ourselves. So, we're going to ask Spirit, how did being in this energy help us see or shrink ourselves, Spirit? I'm sorry about that. When I said I was shuffling with these cards, all right, it caused the tower moment. All right. And so the tower moment, as you already know, it's a upheaval. It's a upheaval where things have changed suddenly. It could be the tower could be, a sudden changes or new foundations or whatever. Being in this energy probably caused a lot of changes as we were coming up as children. It probably caused a lot of changes. We probably saw it probably took us from, especially if it broke our families apart, it could have taken us from a space where we knew was familiar and safe and moved us into places that we didn't even know where we were waking up. Especially if had a parent who could have been, if I could recall, fleeing from a domestic violence situation. So one day I'm sitting there playing with all my dolls, and the next day you don't even see that stuff anymore. That creates trauma in a child. Everything they know when their life changes, um and sometimes this is the identity we form to survive the wound. This card shows how the hurt shaped the way we see ourselves. Did we learn to shrink in these moments? Did we learn to overperform? Did we learn to silence our own needs? You know, yeah, this tower moment is saying, yeah, in those upheavals, we probably got somewhere and got low or try to get in survival mode, um, patterns. We probably got into patterns like overachieving. Sorry, people pleasing or perfectionism, even. You know, but one of the healing techniques that I was able to find to kind of over transmute that kind of energy is called mirror reparenting. Okay, and that's something you can Google. It's where you look into a mirror, you soften your gaze, and you say, "I deserve love then. I deserve love now." All right. And what that does, whenever these feelings come up again, this rewires your subconscious self-image. All right. It's only a try. It's not going to hurt you. It's something you can try. As you know, we don't give out medical or any psychological advice here at Oracle Rose Healing Tarot. All we do is share techniques on things that we've tried in our own layman's energy to try to help self-soothe ourselves. Okay. And also, what I do as your big sister, I get out there and kind of do the research for you a little bit because I'm trying to help myself. And when I help myself, I help you. All right. So you already know here at Oracle Rose, we do what? Participate in our own rescue. That's right, collective. So the next card is about how this wound shaped your relationship. Like, what you learn. What did you learn to tolerate, chase, or avoid? Okay, and if you notice, we're talking about tolerating, chasing, or avoiding. Okay, those are not good energies, but we're going to ask Spirit, what did we learn with this wound to tolerate, chase, or avoid? And Spirit says, a Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. Knight of Pentacles in reverse is more like, if I'm thinking about that, that's more like a lack of discipline. Okay. Or you can become like you can overdo something, overwork yourself. I know I'm a workaholic. So I would say thank you, Spirit, for this, because this is, when I say this is specific to myself, yes, I am a workaholic. This card is actually showing how the family taught me to love and how to learn to accept pain as normal. You know, this is how the womb shaped some of my relationships, and this card reveals how, for us, even as a collective, how our family taught us how to do love, you know, how to learn to accept emotional pain as normal. Like, it's not normal. It's not normal at all, you know. One of the things that, and then when we think it's normal, that's where we start repeating like those relational patterns from our early home environment out in the world as we grow older in adulthood, too, thinking it's normal. And then we wonder why some of our relationships or compatibility with others are off, because our normal is not really their normal, especially unhealed normal. Those create trauma bonds with other people and codependent relationships. Believe me, I know. I would not be telling you if I did not know. Okay. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to heal. You never heal when you're in a codependent or a trauma bonded relationship. You just don't. You know. However, one of the healing techniques that I was able to find to kind of transmute this kind of energy is called attachment deconditioning practice. Okay. That's where you write down 3 sentences you were taught about love. All right. And then you cross each one out and rewrite it as a soul truth about what you feel in your soul about love. Now, what this technique does, this breaks the inherited relationship programming that was caused by this energy. All right. These are things that we can do for ourselves, because you got to remember, the brain is one big old messaging center, transmission head hub quarter, and it also sparks off your emotions that actually, mess with your nervous system and all of that. And that's where all this pain and heaviness feeling, and also that some of that energy can turn into sickness. Healing is bigger than just, getting past an emotion. It's about spiritual cleansing. It's about taking your healing as high as it can go, so you can feel as light as you can be. Okay. And as clear as possible, and live the best possible life and be that best possible version. All right. The next card that we have in this guided message, the question was, what did we have to become to survive in this energy, like the personality roles that we stepped in. So spirit, show us where, if the recollection on this energy, what did we have to become to survive in this energy? We're going to ask spirit. What did, okay. Spirit said, oh my goodness, wow, we had to become a Five of Wands energy. And as you know, that's about arguments. You have to just really get where you just like in competition and conflicts, and it's just a lot of, misunderstanding, miscommunication. It's not the type of energy that's harmonizing. You know what I mean? And so, you know, um if you felt like an invisible child or a quiet child or a scapegoat, this could have pushed you into this energy, where you were always feeling like you had to speak up for yourself, or, or be quiet, or, uh, you know, you just, whatever you need to do to stay safe. And part of it is, we're talking about staying safe amongst people that you thought you were automatically had automatic safety with. Some of the first people who hurt you are people who are supposed to be your safe space. Yep. However, I was able to find a healing technique. Okay. And this one is called the role release ritual. All right. This is where you say aloud, I release the role I played to survive. I return to who I truly am now. All right. And you can burn or bury a symbol of that role. Okay. This was only a mask that you wore to stay emotionally safe anyway. We find our safety in the Most High. We have no fear because it's an energy that does not serve us. Okay, so we know safety is a birthright. So we were doing a lot of performing because there was no one there to teach us. They were already caught up in cycles and loops once we incarnated into our families, once we born into our families, they were already there doing what they were doing. All right. So we're responsible for our own healing. As the Bible says, when you become an adult, you put away childish things. That's what we're doing, getting on a healing path. We're taking all those childish things and we're gonna heal. Okay. All right. So now that we know what to do that, it's like now the next question that came up in my guided meditation was the family wound. What the family wound took away from me, like what it took away from us. A piece of our soul, a piece of our identity is lost in childhood when we go through this. So I wanted to ask Spirit, what is that? What is that? What was taken from me? What was taken from us when we were going through this? I have a specific story of SA as a child, and so it was a lot taken from me. I know that probably resonates with people, and not to trigger anyone. I am fully healed from it, and I continue to heal daily. That's why I'm able to talk to you guys about it here on this. However, um, at the time, I wasn't aware what was taken from me, and from my light at that time. So we're gonna ask Spirit in that collective energy, what was taken away from us at that time. Spirit, what was taken away from us? The Spirit says, all right. And so we have an Eight of Cups in reverse. Okay. So the Eight of Cups in reverse is more like, indecision, feeling stuck, holding on. So our ability to make decisions sometimes, this is probably where we develop that energy, where we get stuck when we don't know how to leave a relationship. We don't know what love is. You know what I mean? This card actually reveals a part of us that disappeared into hiding. Our joy went away, our innocence, our voice, the parts that are waiting to return in this healing journey. Okay, that's what it took away from us. Okay, and we probably lost an ability that we didn't even remember we had, and it was buried deeply inside of us. Okay, so one of the healing techniques that I was able to come across to help with this is called soul retrieval visualization. Okay, this is where you imagine meeting your younger self in a safe place. All right, and you take their hand and you say, come home to me. you know You're going to restore yourself to yourself, because you already know that you're going to be safe with you. You always know that. You can bet on it. You can bet on it. You'll never betray me. Okay? This restores that suppressed aspect that you might have inside. And you might start to recall memories or had dreams around things that were suppressed in your subconscious. Okay? All right? Now, we already know we're on a healing journey and we have purpose. That's the whole reason why we're here. I hope anybody who's here listening to this reading knows that. So we're going to be asking the next question that came up in my meditated guidance, was, how did this womb affect my purpose? So how did the womb affect the purpose? Where did the womb shape the calling, our calling? That's very important to know. So I thought that was a good question. And so we're going to ask Spirit, where did this wound affect and shape the calling or our purpose, spirit. And spirit said at the Three of Pentacles. Okay. And so a Three of Pentacles is more like being able to collaborate or have teamwork with others. It probably made us feel as if we couldn't connect with others. You know, uh, this card here uh, is sacred. It shows how the pain shaped our calling. You know, how the wound is tied to our gifts. So how our how our purpose is born from what hurts us. So eventually, whatever we went through in this whole path, we're going to somehow collaborate with others and help them heal. That's what I'm doing here at Oracle Rose Healing too. That's one of the things that was very important to my soul calling, you know. But how I was able to determine that as I was meditating, I realized that our trauma directly fuels our gifts and our compassion and our intuition in this mission, like that pain made me want to start this channel about healing because I was listening to Sarah. I'm very spiritual, so I'm going to study everything spiritual, anything spiritual. I'm not afraid. I will not be deterred, especially if I'm guided there. And tarot was brought to me, and I want to be able to show you in a guidance that, some of this information I could just present to you, but also we can do it this way as well. Let spirit guide us. That's how I got it. So let spirit guide us. One of the healing techniques that I was able to find about this one is about alchemy. All right, this is transmuting energy. You become a transmuting diva. Hey, Nugget, that's when you truly can say you are unbothered. Okay, this is the epitome. This is the top of the mountain of unbotheredness. Okay, purpose alchemy mapping. Okay, you write down your wound, and then you write, because of this, I can, and then name all the gifts that pain created. Okay, that turns your pain into purpose clarity right there, right there, right there. And that's gonna spark some inspiration from you, and then you're gonna wind up getting paid for your pain. All right, you're gonna wind up doing that. All right, this is the generational curse or karmic loop that we are just trying to get into next. All right, so the next card that we are talking about is, what ancestral patterns are we breaking? Because we're always talking about breaking generational cycles, and we need to know what cycles need to end. I know the cycle. It was revealed to me through my awakening and through my healing and what have you, what needed to end with my family. And a lot of it has to do with sharing information, and also sharing spirituality, and also tapping into our gifts, and also sharing our gifts. It's just so many things. All right, but we're gonna ask spirit, what ancestral patterns are we breaking in the generational cycle that we were born to end? And I got two out, so I'm gonna take them back. That's too many. I just want to get one for this. And what ancestral patterns, a spirit, what ancestral patterns, please? All right. All right, and so it looks like we got a Seven of Swords in reverse. All right, and so a Seven of Swords in reverse is like uh, when the truth revealed the consequences. All right, now the generational curses or cycles that we're breaking is those cycles where the truth is not being revealed. I'm going to tell you, ancestors say, and it is so, because I was able to speak what needed to be healed for me into alignment. Okay, I was able to do that. All right, I was able to do that because I was actually able to do that. I'm sorry, here this card goes here and then this one goes here because I have a specific layout. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, now I can read it a little better. Okay. Whew. Thank you, Spirit. I was able to speak out when needed to be spoken. I was able to bring it forward in the family so that it was made aware. With this card here, this is the generational curse or karmic loop. Our soul volunteers to stop certain things and certain life cycles. Okay. This is the ancestral pattern that we're breaking. This card reveals the generational cycle our soul came here in, and this wound was incarnated in us to release from our entire lineage. We some truth tellers, big steppers of truth tellers. You hear me? So collective, that's who we are. All right. Because that's what I became in this energy. All right. I was able to identify. I was able to identify where it wasn't working out. I was able to identify and I was able to get there. Okay. Now, what needs to be emotionally released? All right. So there's some emotional residue still stored in our bodies. So, and we can feel it, and our ancestors would really appreciate it if we worked on ourselves and get it out of us. So we're going to ask Spirit. Spirit says, go ahead and get into this Seven of Cups energy. All right. Now, the Seven of Cups energy, when we're talking about Seven of Cups, we're talking about possibilities. We're talking about decisions. We're talking about dreams. We're talking about desires. Okay. So we need to release whatever energy that's been put on us by any kind of family or curses or loops or whatever around that. All right. This is what we have emotional weight probably around our heart that we've been carrying too long about this. And this is what we need to get rid of. Okay. All right. Is it anger? Is it shame? Is it fear? Is it sadness? Is it resentment? What is it? You know what I mean? And the Seven of Swords is saying, I'm sorry, the Sevens of Cups. The Seven of Cups is just telling us that we just really need to look into the possibilities and back into our decisions and into our dreams and things like that. Okay. One of the healing techniques that I was able to think up was, you know, how they always talking about the breathing and how that is and how you can breathe in, bring it out. It's called the somatic purging breath. Okay, that's where you exhale through the mouth with sound like a long trembling release. All right, this is physically purging like your stored emotional energy. All right, we're going to start making room so we can get back to dreaming and possibilities. We're going to start treating our body in a way to make room to receive. Okay. And then what needs to be spiritually reclaimed? We're gonna ask about that. Like, what powers were we lost? Like, we got powers, boys, and gifts and things. Our intuition, our identity. What was lost around these family traumas? And so, Spirit is saying our Page of Cup energy. And you already know with a Page of Cup energy, you are really just talking about your inspiration, your creativity, your playfulness. All that was taken away. And that's all good energy that we need for manifestation. Okay. We need to spiritually reclaim this. This is the treasure that our wounds tried to bury, collective. This is what it tried to do to us. But Spirit said, no way. This is what needs to be spiritually reclaimed. And this card reveals the power, our identity, our our intuition, everything. This must return to us now. Okay. Well, that's what it's saying to us. So, you know what? I was able to find the healing technique for this called the energetic crown reseating. Okay. You know how your crown may be tipped to the side, or you know how you tell your homeboy or your homegirl, your friends or whatever, fix your crown. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So, basically, what you're going to do is visualize a crown above your head lowering it onto you. And you're going to say, I reclaim my spiritual authority. I reclaim it. It's mine. All right. So we're going to ask Spirit here. All right. What is the healed version of us? Who do we become after this wound is, this family trauma is no longer in control of us, Spirit. Who do we become? Who do we become? Who do we become? All right. And it was said at Ace of Pentacles in reverse. All right. But in reverse, it says bad investments, but I'm not going to take it that way. All right. Because of how it came out, what this means is we still becoming this version of us, but our timeline is still coming. There's never a bad investment when it's coming to us because our ascended identity is what we're trying to get. And that's the version of you that rises beyond trauma. Okay. That's the healed version of you. All right. So we're still moving. We still moving. I know there's times when I let daily things, I might get distracted again, and then I had to go back into meditating so I can get out of the matrix. But however, another technique that I came up with is called future self integration. That's where you visualize your healed self standing in front of you. You step into them. You feel their energy become yours. That's how you do it because it's you anyway. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out an oracle deck here. I actually have the let me see here, not these. Let's see which one Spirit wants us to do. Let's see here. We're gonna go with the true heart feelings. All right, we'll go ahead and get a few out around our trauma, the hidden feelings, true heart hidden feelings oracle cards. That's what they're called. And so we'll ask Spirit for some oracle messages around our family trauma healing. Okay, for some closing. All right. So Spirit, let's just see here. We'll go ahead and get a cut on the deck here. All right. All right. And I'm hoping that you guys this is finding this helpful. All right. So we're just gonna ask Spirit, Spirit, what you got for us, the collective? We wanna know. We wanna know anything else on this family healing trauma from this Spirit. All right. Fulfilled. Okay. They only want you to make you feel complete, happy, content, and safe. Okay? Think of yourself, okay, when you think of that. The they is you, the higher self. Only want you, make you feel complete, happy, content, and safe. Okay? That's what our divine wants for us. Okay. All right, let's get another one out here from Divine. Thank you very much for that. For the collective, can we get another one? Thank you, Divine. All right, I did get two more. Growth. All right. You wants to begin anew. Focusing. You want to begin anew. Focusing on family now. Probably mature. You probably fertile. All right, on that cycle. Or on the just a cycle of birthing something new. All right. And then the other one that came out was overflowing. You have a lot of love to give. You're probably in a rush to get serious, you know. You might be moving fast. You might be encountering some charmers. It's okay. Our energy is ascending. So there's only good things coming. All right, take a deep breath with me. That was a long one. All right, your family wounds do not define you, collective. They shaped you, but they cannot decide who you become. You are not your trauma. You are your transformation. You are your healing. You are becoming. Now, if this reading brought you any clarity, healing, or peace, please like, share, and subscribe to support Oracle Rose Healing Tarot. All right. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. I really thank you. And as always, remember where tarot becomes healing and healing becomes you. Here at Oracle Rose. Until next time, beautiful collective, stay gentle with yourself, stay grounded, and stay rising.